All right, here is the official Mpgho tier list. In the top tier, we got the championship contenders. Their roster right now, as it stands, could contend for a championship. Tier right below that is the playoff contenders. Um, they can go pretty far in the playoffs. They might be a couple moves away from actually becoming true championship contenders. This tier is reserved for the teams that are kind of missing a few key pieces right now, or their inactivity is like really low. The next tier is that needs a lot of luck, which basically means they need a lot of luck if they want to make it far. Um, Everything needs to kind of click for them. And then this bottom tier is that they probably won't make the playoffs unless they start making a bunch of moves. So let's start with Manitoba. And unfortunately for Manitoba, oops, what the fuck? I have to put them in the won't make playoffs tier. They might make the play in, but I don't know. I just don't see their roster matching up with the rest of the team's rosters. They have Bob the Pig and Marty as their best players. Marty was just given eligibility to play for them. But even with Marty and Bob, I don't see those two carrying a team into the playoffs. Um, their next best player is Kinematic, and I don't even know if he shows for them. Aquatic Peach, Siegel, Penn Productions, um, Blessed Donut, Brobski. Those are all pretty good players, but they're kind of missing another superstar next to Marty. All right, the next team we have is Abbotsford Canucks. I'm going to place them in a few missing pieces because they are. They're missing a few pieces, most notably defense. They got a pretty good lineup with Wambino, Jelly, Kale. That's a really good line right there. Pavel, Sinister Level, Booters, Cat, Papa Stall. These are all pretty good depth players. But like I said, they're kind of missing that one primary defender. So maybe they can go out and trade for one of those. Next up, we have Belleville. I'm going to put Belleville in the needs a lot of luck category because they do need a lot of luck. Right now, their team is kind of inactive. However, if they all show, they could easily be a playoff team. They got Pointless. He's not the best, but he fills his role. Yeah, Donnie and Matthew as the two good defenders. Snipe 68, who's like a top 5 talent in the league. 917 Vex, Toe Muncher, he's a good defender. Exalted is a good forward. Dino, Lucky, and then Danny in net, or however you pronounce it. He's all right. Like I said, activity is mostly their problem. If they all showed and actually all played together, they could easily make the playoffs. I'm gonna put Charlotte right next to them because Charlotte. I've debated about putting them up here, but I think truly they do need some more luck. They have K1, Tyrese, Powerade, and they're actually getting Rhythm, so Rhythm might actually put them up here. But I don't know. I can't really do that yet. I haven't seen them play together yet like that. They're missing a PG. That's really one of the main things. But other than that, they have a pretty good lineup. They also need some defender other than Adrock to play for them. K1IQ is one of the best forwards in the league. Tyrese is pretty good himself. Yeah. Next up, we have Ontario. Ontario, I'm going to put in the few missing pieces because they have Stinger, and Stinger is a top 5 player. Stinger might be the best player in the league, period. Wavy, Pack Runner Danny, Zwizzy, Malksman, Trevor, Zendime, Leafy, Sudoka. These, and then Icy Depths and Net. These guys are pretty good. They have the roster. They just need to start playing together. They also need a goalie as well. like desperately. I mean, they just signed Icy Depth, so maybe he's the guy to like actually put him over the edge. Who knows? But they are definitely on the up. Next we have Providence. Now Providence is kind of Providence can go in any one of these tiers. To be honest with you, I'm gonna put them in a few missing pieces, just because their core is really good. Their core has Bando, Light, Thrasher, Polish Thrasher, Hybrid, Aquatic Realm, JD Pags, and then Tommy in it. Tommy's not the best goalie, but I mean he's pretty good. You can get him. He can make a playoff run. However, their main issue is obviously activity. Only like 3 of them show to a game at any given time. But if they all showed, I mean, they would be easily a top like 3 team in the whole league. So they just need to work on that. Next up, we have Rochester. I'm gonna put Rochester in the playoff contender tier. Let's see, who do they have? They have Antoine as captain. Antoine's always a good captain. They have Outer, Kuzi, Changes, Zach 11794, Threefs, Mello, Meritex, 5 James 2. And they got a good lineup. They actually have some of the best depth in the whole league. So that really works for them. They have a good goalie in Packer or Katada. Changes and Outer are some of the best 2-way forwards in the whole league. I mean, Jesus Christ, Changes has like 23 points, dude. What the hell? So he's been developing into a really good 2-way. Kuzi's good, but he hasn't really shown that much. Threefs is always a good defender. So yeah, this team could easily make a deep playoff run, especially with the roster that they have. Next up, we have Stockton. And I think Stockton is a little bit above Rochester, so I'm going to put them in the championship contenders. They have Hockey is Awesome as a player, who as a player is he's like above average, I'd say. Kusterd's right there with them. And then Vezi OG, who's probably the best defender in the league. I mean, next to me, of course. And then their strongest suit by far is their goalie. I mean, they have Angranator and Rapper Rap as their goalie, and they've both been just lights out. Now, I don't know if that's because Vezi is playing in front of them or what, but it's going to be hard to score on this team. They got really good defensive depth. They got Post God, Horvat of Canucks, Vivazog, Jackers, Who's Hockey, Javante, Solitude, Sinister Supremacy. So yeah, these guys have a pretty solid lineup through and through. There's only a few teams that can actually contend with them. One of them including my team, the Utica Comets. Now you could argue that I'm biased, and that's fair enough. But I truly do think that we have the best roster in the whole league. I mean, we just signed 420 Maz and Banks, who are kind of our missing pieces right now. Banks in his first game yesterday scored a hattie. So yeah, with the first line of me, Aceless, and Banks, I mean that line is just deadly. But then to have a line 2 of Lemnos, Kareem, and either Lunar or Firestorm, I mean that's also just really good. And then we have a bunch of depth like Lacy Poodle, Rusalt, and some other ones. Maz is our goalie, and he's been really good so far. Eric Knight is our backup, and so is Orifora. So yeah, I just think this team is really good, through and through, and so yeah, that concludes this week's power rankings. Let me know if you agree or disagree. See ya.